Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. My name is Dmitri Julius, and I'm the Chief Personnel Officer at Icon, a construction technologies company using 3D printing to transform home building. Today, I've got the pleasure to be joined by Amber Fogarty, the president of Mobile Loaves Fishes, and Tim Shea, a resident of Community First Village and the first person to ever live in a 3D printed home. The South by Southwest panel, 3D printed homes to reduce homelessness, will be a discussion of homelessness, innovation, and community. Let's get started.
Hi, Dmitri. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Amber. It's such a pleasure to have you all. We were just saying kind of before our video had the opportunity to begin that due to all this crazy weather in Texas, I miss seeing y'all's faces in person.
Yeah, we've missed you too.
Well, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity to get caught up. And I just want to dive on in. So what is Mobile Loaves and Fishes, and how did Community First Village get started and progress to where it is today?
So Mobile Loaves and Fishes has been around for more than 22 years in Austin, Texas. And we started as a food truck program where groups of folks would come together and take food out in food trucks to our neighbors who were experiencing homelessness. So we always like to tell people that we were doing food trucks in Austin long before food trucks were cool and trendy like they are today. And we've always used those food trucks as a way to connect human to human, heart to heart with our friends on the streets. And Community First Village is a 51-acre and growing master planned community where we lift our friends up off the streets into a permanent home and a supportive community. We have more than 200 folks that call Community First Village home today. Tim is one of those amazing neighbors. And it is just such a special place where we really have the opportunity to come alongside our friends, to know them, to love them, and really to be part of their story. And they have incredible stories to tell. They have walked through so much struggle, so much suffering in their lives, but they are truly the most resilient people we've ever known. And so it is our great honor to get to be part of their homecoming story.
That's such a fantastic mission, and we're so very proud of both you and the community members really kicking off something truly innovative in the world. So this is one for our viewers out there. How did Mobile Loaves and Fishes and Icon's path originally intersect? And what's the shared missional alignment there?
Well, I love the story of Mobile Loaves and Fishes and Icon coming together because these are two innovative organizations, right? Two organizations that want to, go where no one has gone before. And Community First Village is something that never existed anywhere else in the world. There was no other master planned community of tiny homes and RVs for people who had experienced chronic homelessness. Mobile Loaves and Fishes charted the path to create that for the very first time in the world. And coming alongside of Icon, who said, hey, we want to 3D print homes. And that, when that idea first came to us, that the opportunity to be connected to Icon, we were just in awe of the fact that that was even possible. We knew that you could 3D print all kinds of interesting things,
right,
but really had no idea that it could be possible, that it could be a real thing that happened in our lifetime, that we could 3D print homes. And so when the opportunity came about for us to collaborate and for the opportunity to have 3D printed homes as part of Community First Village, of course, we jumped at it. And it's been an incredible journey with Icon for us to go where no one has gone before and to create an opportunity for friends like Tim to live in a 3D printed home, which is such an amazing gift.
I think that's absolutely right. And so actually, I want to take a moment just to introduce Tim. Tim, thank you so much for being here with us today. We would love to know a little bit about, your time at Community First Village.
Well, it's been an experience like everything in my life. It's been a joy and an adventure. I was in very desperate straits when I got informed about the planned Community First Village. It hadn't broke ground yet, and there was a waiting list. Of course, a lot of people were flocking to it, but no one really knew exactly what it was going to entail. I think we sort of were actually waiting to be part of what it was going to be, because I think we all ended up becoming an integral part of how it evolved. They had the structure and the master plan, But until the people get there, that's when the action happens. And that's what's been so amazing about the village is how it's sort of adapted to the different people, and the people have adapted to them, and it's just become a community. Strangely enough, I think it's the concept is working, and it's working wonders in my life. I was on the edge, let's say, of a very disastrous ending. If this hadn't come along, I just was at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do. And I consider it like a rescue mission. And now my life is flourishing. I sort of feel like I'm picking up back where I left off when I entered into my addiction at its worst point.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing, Tim. And I think you bring up so many fantastic points just about the mission of Mobile Loaves, and the community is nothing but the people that you're trying to serve. And so I think y'all are doing a fantastic job of that. And I'm going to pose this question to both of you. Tim, I'd love to hear your answer. What is something that you wish the world knew about the plight of people currently experiencing homelessness?
Well, that I think is the only thing that I could actually have any impact on anyone is it could be you. If everyone understood, it could be you. I think the storm the other day showed a lot of people that no matter what we think we have in life, no matter how intelligent, how technology aware we are, it could all fall out from under you at any time for so many different circumstances. So if you look at it from that point of view, not looking down or looking up, but just looking straight and meeting the fact that the people out here aren't anything different than you are. They've had problems, addictions, sickness, disease. But, when you're downtrodden and you don't have help and there's no relief and there's nothing in sight, well, then, of course, the appearance of someone being different or how they could survive that makes you think that you're different, but you're not, And that's what I found out. I never thought I would be in the situation I caught myself into. And of course, I was mostly responsible for it. But the fact is, that's where I was. And I couldn't believe that there was nothing there to help me. And this has been a godsend to me. And I just like everyone to know that I'm you and you are me. It could all happen to all of us, and we have to care about each other and make sure that we can survive it.
That's such a poignant message. I am you and you are me, and that we're all kind of in this together. And so thank you again for that answer. Amber, same question to you. What is something that you wish the world knew about those experiencing homelessness and the work that y'all are doing to help eradicate that as an issue?
Well, first of all, I don't know that I can say it better than Tim, because I am you and you are me is about as profound as it gets.
Right.
But I think to take that message a step further, at Mobile Loaves and Fishes, we always say that the single greatest cause of homelessness is the profound catastrophic loss of family. And a lot of times when people talk about homelessness, they talk about, there are two primary things that they point to as drivers, as causes of homelessness. And those are mental illness and addiction. And the reality is that mental illness and addiction exist in almost every family. And homelessness doesn't result in every one of those circumstances. But really, all of us have a safety net in our lives, right? We have people that love us and care for us. And that could be our nuclear family, our extended family. And then what we think is so important is the forged family, right? The other people that come around you to care for you. And really, the only thing that is different between people who have experienced homelessness and those who haven't is that at some point that support system eroded, right? It came apart underneath them. And helping folks understand that, and really, the message that Tim delivered, that this can happen to anybody. It really can. But that every person that has experienced homelessness, that is someone's son or daughter, that is someone's mother or father, it's someone's brother or sister, and they matter. And we have to come together as a community. We are the support system, right? We can be the glue underneath them that keeps them out of homelessness. And so Community First Village exists to become that support system, right? To become that forged family for our neighbors. And I will tell you, Tim is so special to me. And I am just so grateful that I get to be part of his life because he's incredible and resilient and hilarious. And people just need to know this guy is such an amazing guy. And he has such a story to tell, and he has so much wisdom to share. And that's true for all of our friends who have experienced so much struggle in their life. Let's give them the opportunity to tell their story, to share what they have experienced, because we all have a lot to learn from them.
I think that's absolutely right. And you touch on the message of, this being, not an issue of, an individual's ability to do this or that. This is a problem that shares a common thread, a human thread, that we're never too far up or too far down to be experiencing these things just like our friends and our neighbors. And so I definitely just appreciate y'all so much for touching on that. With that said, I think that raises a very interesting question. The status quo that we have, like you said, has allowed for these things to kind of be in everyone's lives. Everyone knows someone who's dealing with these very human issues that you were talking about. So that makes me think about the question: do we actually have to take significant risks to build a better world for ourselves? Clearly, the status quo isn't producing the results that we'd hoped for. So, is risk something that we need in order to further advancement in this particular area?
Well, I would say yes. And I think that the risk that you have to take is the risk to be willing to love people, right? Like loving people turns
How
out to
awesome.
be a risky endeavor, right? Like, because when you love, it means that you're opening yourself up to pain and grief and loss. And at Community First Village, we lose neighbors, they pass away, and we grieve for them, right? And we grieve for them because we love them, because they're part of our family. And so, and seeing what happens here when we lose someone, it's so powerful. The community comes together to mourn together, but also to celebrate the person's life, to celebrate what they've meant to us. And so, to me, yes, we need to take more risk in our culture. And the risk is we need to love people more and we need to love people better.
That's wonderful. Tim, same question to you.
Well, that's exactly how I got into the 3D printed home, is I took a risk. And even here, and even after being here for several years, it was still risky to reach out, and I got involved in what they call a seed neighbor program. It's nothing formal or anything. It's just someone willing to go into the next phase and deal with some problems that people may have, new people coming in, new characters, new family members, new neighbors. And when the initial notification came out that they were looking for a few people to be seed neighbors, I dwelled on, am I willing to take that risk, take a chance and open myself up more than I have? It's been a progression since I've gotten here, but it's true that a lot of homeless people will isolate for a number of reasons, but I've always been that type. And that's what the Community First concept is to get you out of your house and talking to other people, sharing your story. It's just family. And you're not going to be family if you're all hiding in your own dwelling. So it's great to have a dwelling, but it's not a hiding place. It's somewhere to have a safe, secure place to sleep and eat. But ultimately, you want to share with other people and you want to be with other people. And we're sort of unique here because everyone's isolated, but we're isolated together. And it's really pretty neat. When I went to a 3D printed home, that's what I did. I reached out and I said, yeah, I'm willing to be someone who will open up to other people and try to share and make their transition smoother for any reason. And that's exactly what Amber's talking about, is You got to get out of that comfort zone and open yourself up, and then you'll get it back. And that's why I didn't know I was going to get a 3D printed home out of this situation, but that's sort of the reward you get. Sometimes you never know what's on the other side of that risk.
Yeah, you talk about that vulnerability and those selfless actions that put you in a position to have something good happen and to let that good kind of to flow in, and that's really what it's all about. And there's almost no experience in this life that, this journey that we're on together, where being vulnerable and being open to other people's experiences doesn't add value to your life. And so I think y'all are absolutely speaking the gospel. So when we talk about other ways that the village actually empowers people to take risk and to be bold, like y'all were just speaking to. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the community fosters that empowerment into a lifestyle of service with the members of the community?
Well, the vision for Mobile Loaves and Fishes is to empower communities into a lifestyle of service with the homeless, not for them, not to them. And I think that word with is really important. And everything that we do at Community First Village is about being with, right? It's about being neighbors, about being friends, about being family. And so we invite the community into that relationship with us. And that's a beautiful thing. Obviously, COVID has thrown a pretty big curveball into the ways that we've been able to do that. But what we love to do is invite people into this community. And we are looking forward to a time, hopefully later this year, when most folks are vaccinated and when we begin to be able to move around in the ways that we did before the pandemic. But for us here, in a pre-COVID world, we hosted events at the village. We have an outdoor movie theater where we invited people to come and watch a movie under the stars. We have just so many different volunteer opportunities. And our goal is to draw people in, because we know that when we draw people in, we're inviting them into the opportunity for a relationship. And so someone may come out to a movie and they may get to meet Tim and go, wow, he's awesome. I want to hang out with him more. I want to be friends with Tim, right? I want Tim to be part of my community. And we get to see that happen here all the time. So for us at Mobile Loaves and Fishes, our goal is just to really invite the community to come alongside of us. We've done that creatively during COVID. We've offered virtual volunteer opportunities, ways that people could engage. But we certainly look forward to getting back to the invitation to the village, the invitation here for a tour, for a movie night, for a volunteer opportunity, because there is really, to me, there's no substitute for being at this place. And people often say to me that there's a feeling that you have when you drive into the village, that you just feel this peace come over you. And I've even had people say to me, you can feel community here. And I love that idea. I love the idea that you can feel community, that you can feel that this is a group of people who cares about each other, who loves each other, who are for each other, just by driving, onto the property. And then when you begin to engage, you get to see this place is really built on that foundation of love.
I gotta say, there is an energy, and you're speaking to it, but every drive into the village, like it's electric. There is something about being around a group of people that genuinely enjoys being around one another. I have to share a personal anecdote because I don't know that I've ever shared this with you, so I don't know why I chose on camera to be the first time to share. But kind of after a couple of really fun and interesting days on the property, engaging with community members and really learning some stories for people, I was personally inspired to get engaged with some of my neighbors. I've been in my neighborhood for years and hadn't as much as said hello in passing to the mailbox. And because of the inspiration that came from working so closely with a tight-knit community like y'all's, we now have fostered fantastic friendships with individuals in our cul-de-sac and our neighborhood, simply by carrying that torch and the spirit of community that I took away from just a long and fun day out at the village. So I just wanted to personally thank both of you, because that spirit, it permeates, and I think we are all better off when you open yourself up to the experiences of just being with one another. So it really is a special place, and I just wanted to let y'all know that.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that what I love about that is, people ask me sometimes, well, what else can I do? What else can I do to help Mobile Loaves and Fishes? What else can I do to help Community First Village? Sometimes I turn the question back to them and I say, what can you do to help your community, your neighborhood? And then I'll ask them, do you know your neighbors? And do you know the person that lives across the street from you or the person that lives around the corner? And I love hearing those stories of the ways that people for the first time sometimes reach out. They bring a plate of home-baked cookies over to their neighbor and they introduce themselves and they begin a relationship, because really we've become such a disconnected culture that what we all need, right, is more connection, more belonging. And we can create that wherever we go. It does exist at Community First Village, but I want to live in a world where it exists everywhere, where people feel that in their own neighborhoods, in their places of worship, in their workplace, like that they feel connected and like they're part of something that matters.
Tim, do you have anything to add?
Well, it's not that hard. I always thought it'd be really a big mountain to climb, is to let people in. But it's not that hard. And once I started doing it, once I just started, we had a thing in drug recovery called Act As If. Even if you're not quite certain how to be something, or, wear a different shirt, wear a different jacket, wear a different who you want to be. If you act as if you're going to be comfortable with it. And then that's what I did here. I just started saying hi to people, not without the feeling and the sincerity, but just to get accustomed to doing it, to communicate with other people around me. And then pretty soon it became more and more real. And then next thing I know, they stop by and we're talking in the driveway, and now we're friends. So it's just from that initial, once again, taking that risk and saying, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I've had people snap my head off over, just making a comment, but I keep going back every time I see them. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And then that might be someone like we're talking about, the new neighbors coming in. They're going to have problems sometimes just feeling the warmth and the connectedness. But if we keep welcoming them, then I believe they're going to feel the same way I did. It starts becoming natural. Then you start getting the payback. During the storm, I had more visitors during the storm than I do normally, without any bad weather. Everyone asking, are you okay? You need some water, you need this, you need that. Well, I didn't have that before in my life. No one even knew I could live in a neighborhood. They wouldn't even know who I was. Here he comes and goes, he keeps to himself. Well, that's not the case here. I don't know if you could do that here. They're going to come get you, and I'll come get you. If we see someone who just disappears, someone's going to reach out to them. And that's a pretty secure, wonderful feeling that you're not alone, And I never had felt alone in Community First Village, that's for sure.
Well, that's so delightful. That's exactly what you're hoping for when you talk about fostering community. So switching gears a little bit, and I know we've touched on it just a little earlier, but can we talk about, when you talk about building that familial, that trust and that unity, people checking on you and reaching out to one another, when you do experience loss, maybe of family or friends, how do we go about supporting those and dealing with the trauma specifically of individuals experiencing homelessness?
I would say it goes back to love, right? It just goes back to loving people through it. Losing people is a part of all of our lives. At Community First Village, it is a big part of our life. The average age of the people that live here is 58 years old. The average length of time on the streets is 10 years. 65% of the people that live here have 2 or more chronic health conditions. Right. So there's been a lot of trauma. There are a lot of health issues to contend with. And our goal is really to walk with them on their journey, to love them, and love them for the rest of their lives. And when there is a loss, what I love about this community is the way that we come together to support each other and to care for each other, because we all grieve differently. Grief looks different for all of us. And so there's just a desire for us to support each other, to check in with each other, and to realize that grief comes in waves, right? And
Right.
so, you know, when you lose someone, within a few days, you may have that first wave of grief, and then another wave will come, and another wave will come. And so our goal is just to be there for all the waves of emotion and grief that we experience because of the losses that we have, but also that we remember that there is also joy, that we got the gift of that friendship. Um, with some of the neighbors that we've lost recently, I have just reflected on how much they enriched my life, how much my
Mhm.
life is better because I got to know them and got to know their story, got to laugh with them. And that's a big piece of what we do here is how do we hold the joy and the sadness together and realize that they can both exist in the same moment. We lost a neighbor last week, and I will tell you that we're outside of her home, and we're grieving, but we're telling stories, and she was a character and she made us laugh. And so we were telling stories about some of the most hilarious things that she said. And so, tears streaming down our faces, but, full of joy and laughter as well, because it was a gift to have her as part of our community and to have her as part of our lives. And so that's the journey of Community First Village that we all get to walk together.
Right. You talk about that family that you chose, and the ability to kind of learn one another and grow with one another. So that process of joy and grief, just like family, kind of belong hand in hand. There is not one without the other. But it's inspirational to know, Tim. I think you said it best. You've never felt alone in your time at the village, and that's such a hopeful message because I think what it shows is that, you've spoken about the times where things were very difficult and that you were maybe at your lowest. And then to have come full circle to be this thriving member of a community where you feel connected with folks and feel like you've got the ability to continue to reach out and take those risks. I think that's an amazingly hopeful story that I think maybe gets left out of this experience. So let's pivot again for a moment and just talk to, speak to the ways that people can get involved. Amber, you had spoken about the opportunity to come out and volunteer, and spend time with the community members. Can you expand on a little bit of the other options that are available to folks to get involved and just create ideas on how to maybe do something akin to this on their own, maybe outside or separate from Mobile Loaves as well?
Sure. So, of course, volunteering and being part of what we do at Mobile Loaves and Fishes, that invitation is always there. And so, for those that are watching that are local in Austin, we want to invite you. Of course, we're limited in our pandemic moment, but hopefully we will exit that at some point, and we will get back to a full and robust volunteer schedule. We have lots of opportunities. We have a full organic farm on site, so we have volunteer opportunities to be part of that team. We have opportunities to serve on our property beautification team, which helps keep this village the beautiful place that it is, and so many others. There's lots of opportunities to get involved. We have chickens and goats, and so sometimes families like to come out here and hang out with chickens and goats to volunteer. But there's lots of those opportunities. But I would say beyond the village, my invitation to everyone that's watching is to reach out to a neighbor. Reach out to someone in your community. The next time you see someone panhandling, flying a sign, roll down the window, ask them their name, share your name, and recognize that that simple act is the beginning of a relationship, right? It's the beginning of an opportunity to connect human to human, heart to heart with someone you don't know and with someone who has a story to share with you. So I invite everyone to just take that next step. Introduce yourself to a neighbor that you don't know. Get to know them, because that's really the essence of Community First. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And Tim, what are some ideas that you have for, getting people involved or maybe changing some of the misconceptions around this conversation of homelessness and how people arrive there?
Well, I've just become a rabid advocate. I mean,
I love
everywhere I
that.
go, I got bus drivers. When I moved into a 3D printed home, I was going to have the biggest housewarming known to in Austin in a long time. I had people from everywhere, counselors, psych clinics, nurses. When I had an infection, the nurses at the Dell Seton, they all wanted to be there for me. You know, when I moved in that house and COVID hit and sort of put a damper on that, but I'm still going to have that party. But I talk to everybody. I just try to let them know. I don't say I live in a village of previously homeless people. I don't really. I just talk about what a wonderful community it is, and just come to visit. Just come through, and believe me, you'll get talked to. The person that Amber was referring to just passed. She was our greeter, our official greeter. And if you'd seen her on the street corner, I imagine a lot of people would just turn their head and think she was a psych patient or something. But she was the most wonderful, warm-hearted, caring, funny person. And that's exactly what the village does. It gives you an opportunity to be human again, I feel. I was almost robotic in my life. I just didn't know where I was going, what I was doing. And now I have a purpose every day. I just feel like I've been reborn, so to speak, without all the other inflections. I just feel like I'm getting in touch with who I was a long time ago. And I'm very sorry that I lost so many years in my addiction and my struggles, but it's never too late, you know, it's never too late. And as far as the people passing, I wanted to say, I was thinking when Amber was talking, she's a young lady and I'm an older man. I have a whole different attitude about that now. Thinking about when I may pass, and the fact that I know that some missionals here are going to deal with all of my paperwork and my belongings, that I can actually my remains can be here. I can be memorialized. I can be on the, I'm not quite sure what they call it, but it's that structure we have here where the cremation, people, that's your name on it and you're sort of memorialized here. That's the most gracious gift I can have. Where before I was just planning on whatever county, whatever, take care of my remains and just, you know, sort of shove me off. That's very important to me now. And, you know, I guess I didn't give it much thought, but to say you have a home for the rest of your life, no one ever offered me that, you know, and they mean it. And I believe they're going to have a hospice on property eventually. And hopefully that'll be where I sort of slide out. But no matter how long, I'm just so grateful that I found this before I didn't leave this world, because I have such a better feeling about being a human being and what other human beings are than I had before. So
I think, yeah, Tim, that's such just a beautiful answer. You talk about, you know, maybe houses are temporary, but homes are forever, and you've found your forever home. And I think there's something truly amazing about just thinking through the maturation, the process that you've gone through to get yourself to a point where you've got an appreciation for not only the things that you're experiencing now, but just the love that you know is going to continue to permeate from your life based on the people that you know are going to care for you if and when that time comes. You know, there's no expiration on that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need shelter. We all need love. And it sounds like you've really found that with the village. And so that's just a wonderful answer. Thank you so much for sharing. So, you know, we talked about, you know, ways to get involved and ways to help. And we know over at Icon, our way of getting involved is, you know, 3D printing structures, and that's not going to be available to everyone, right? And so that was our way of getting involved. And Amber, you touched on, you know, loving your neighbor and really getting out there in the community and just, you know, starting relationships. And I think that that's so powerful because, one, everyone can begin that process right now today. It doesn't take any additional effort for you to be kind to someone, share your name and ask for theirs. Beyond kind of the things that we can all do on a day-to-day basis, you know, what are some of the innovations that you think are needed, both, you know, from a structural standpoint and, you know, interpersonally that need to happen in order to curb homelessness at scale?
That's a great question. So, you know, I think that we have to be willing across this country, homelessness is a huge challenge in really every major city, right? And I think we have to be willing to embrace innovation and to say we are going to try, we need to try things that have never been tried before. 3D
Right.
printing is a great example, right? We need to try things that have never been tried before because we need every tool in the toolbox to help tackle this challenge, right? And we need the brilliance and the creativity and the great ideas that come from innovators and entrepreneurs and everyday folks who just come up to us and say, "Hey, have you guys ever thought about this?" And I will tell you, we get an idea a minute here, that people bring to us, and I love that. I love that people bring us their ideas and um, you know are willing to share with us their the grand plans in their head that they've come up with about how they can help homelessness. And that's what we need, though. We need all of us. We need all of our best thinking and our creativity and our innovation. And we also need a willingness to fail because innovation and failure go hand in hand, right? If you think about every major innovation that has ever, happened in the history of the world, all of them involved failure, right? There's so many great stories. I love sharing with my kids stories of some of the great innovations that they enjoy today, but then telling them the backstory that they don't know about the failures, right? That there were so many failures before we got to that innovation. And when I think about the icon journey and I think about what you all have walked through, I mean, I can imagine how much you have risked to do this thing that no one has ever done before. And, for us, we get to see the manifestation of it, right? Every single day, I get to see these 7 beautiful 3D printed homes that are at Community First Village. But to me, that's the journey. And I would love to hear from you, Dimitri. Just what does that journey of innovation and risk look like for Icon? How did y'all tackle that so that you could do this thing that had never been done before?
Yeah, I see you turning the tables on me over there. No, I think one of the fantastic things about our team is that unilaterally our risk aversion is quite low. We're all willing to move at velocity and move fast and try our best to push what was previously thought possible. So you're living in this really unique space where everything that you're trying is either novel or there's no real right or wrong answer. You just got to go try. And I think if we were fearful or if we were unwilling to take those bold steps, we wouldn't see, large scale and meaningful breakthroughs. Our CEO says it all the time, and it's so provocative. But if you could schedule breakthroughs, everyone would have them, right? Like, oh, next Thursday at 3:00, we'll solve something very difficult and it'll be fine. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, and so you've got to be willing to take those risks and to push what's possible. We also have a little segment of our day we call bad ideas, which is basically like the boldest thing you could possibly think of to try. And we kind of have those at the end of meetings and noodle on them for a little bit. But the end goal of that exercise is to really push ourselves to think about kind of those outside of the box solutions that you wouldn't just assume could be possible. And we really try to force ourselves to chase those down. Interestingly enough, some of our biggest innovations, like the one at Community First Village, to print multiple units. So those 6 houses that are in succession at CFV was a process of innovation that came from a bad idea session where we were like, what if we attempted to print different floor plans in succession and really push the ability to kind of scale out these houses with one machine? And we were able to get there successfully. And, the 1,000 hours behind that it takes to get to a point where you're willing to try are manifested in that one moment where something works. And so I guess my advice to individuals are looking at, getting creative and innovating to help get involved in this global issue that we're having with homelessness is like, be willing to push the envelope beyond what you previously thought possible. And if it's a bold and audacious idea, that's exactly what we need. Amber, you talked about all the tools in the toolbox. All the tools in the toolbox led us to this moment. We're going to need all the tools in the toolbox to get us out of this moment. So, Tim, I would love to hear your ideas on this topic as well.
Well, I've been thinking on this for a long time, and I feel like just as much as we need to think forward, we need to look back on those bad ideas and get them out of the toolbox. Seems that a lot of old concepts and old beliefs are still ingrained in homelessness. Just the word homelessness is so off the wall. No one has a clue. Everyone different that speaks about it has a different concept of what they're talking about. And they're seeing different faces in their heads. So there's all different degrees of homelessness. There's different reasons for homelessness. So it has to be a united front with all the energy and all the great young, vibrant people like yourself, Dmitri, and your whole company, is, I think, separating themselves from a lot of the old ideas about how to solve these problems. And housing doesn't have to be built the way it used to be built. The words mean something. So I believe that there's so many sections of homelessness and so many different variations of homelessness and mental illness and addiction and sometimes all that combined. So you have a lot of different degrees of people that can, solutions that can be brought onto different sections of that homelessness concept, what it means to people. So, I mean, we have to understand it's not one united group of people. It's everybody is so different. And right now, what they're talking about is with homelessness and having a roof over your head, that is just that used to be the solution. Now it's community first as a solution. It means that people have to be connected again, family, some type of, you're not alone in this, idea. But I just really think language is really getting in our way sometimes on these issues. And when we're all talking about different things and we think we're talking about the same thing. So
Tim, that is so poignant. I'm learning a lesson. I've learned the lesson over the course of the last couple of years, just with the involvement in the community. And then to Amber's earlier point, just having homelessness touch my family. I didn't even know that, there was a difference in homelessness and home insecurity and being underhomed or underhoused. There's different categories with different issues that kind of exacerbate the issues that people are experiencing. And so I think you're right. Language matters, and I think educating ourselves about what we are talking about when we're talking on this issue of homelessness, and getting to a point where we're speaking, a common language that we can go attack the problem. Because you're absolutely right. Just a roof over your head is a part of a solution. There's the health issues that Amber was speaking to earlier, and some of the other comorbidities that go along with homelessness. But like, once we have a universal language that we're speaking, then we can start to chip away at the problems that exist in all of those subcategories. And so I think you did a fantastic job of kind of just shedding some light on the fact that we may not even be having the right conversation at the outset. We could be talking about two different things and not know it. And so maybe we're applying the wrong solution. That is so thoughtful, Tim and Amber. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate that.
So Dmitri, tell us about the journey that Icon has been on to create these 7 homes at Community First Village. What has that been like for you as someone who's gotten to be part of that entire journey?
Yeah, the time at Icon has been truly profound when you think about, watching something come from idea phase into the grand design phase, and then ultimately execution on the goal. Icon was bred out of the mission that, we are going to make a meaningful impact in the global housing crisis and attempt to solve that problem at scale with our technology. And ultimately to see some of that start to be realized at Community First Village and other areas like that has really been, it's clear that this is my life's work and our team's life's work, because we can now foresee a future where at scale, we did the 7 houses at Community First Village, but we're imagining, a world where at scale, these robots released into the wild can print tens of thousands of homes. And so our goal is to take the next progressive step and to put ourselves in a position to go build full communities of houses with 100, 200, 300 units at a time to really start to push the possibility of what's possible, but also to create these houses for individuals who are currently living in substandard conditions. And you spoke about it earlier, and it really always hits me. It's just about like the love and the care that's necessary. If you were to ask anyone, is it okay when when you see someone, living outdoors? I don't think any of us would say yes, that's how we envision life going for our brothers and sisters, but yet we're not working actively on the solutions to prevent that from happening. And so to have an opportunity to be working on that every day is something that really warms my heart, but also it's a driver to solve this problem that ultimately needs to be solved. This isn't a niche. This isn't a joke. It's not a fun, kitschy thing. It's something that when it gets solved is going to have truly remarkable impact on the world that we live in. And that is such a joy. So to be able to work with you, Amber, and to have the opportunity to work with fantastic human beings like Tim, it really is kind of the reason we get out of bed in the morning. And it's been such a fun journey.
So throughout our journey together, a lot of our conversations have been about the promise of this technology, like what's possible, what can we do as, as Icon continues to evolve and progress, and as you continue to learn about everything that the technology is capable of. So when you think about the promise of the technology, what excites you the most? Like when you look at the future and you look at what you all have already done, and then what the future will hold, what gets you really fired up?
Well, what gets me really fired up is that, I've had to rethink this a couple of different times, right? I used to answer this question with like, the sky's the limit, but with some of the work that we've got going on with, our celestial partners like NASA and whatnot, like the sky's no longer the limit. We're talking about potentially putting things, on the moon with the moon base project. And then we're foreseeing, fully automated systems that may eventually make their way to Mars. And so I think the potentiality of the technology is such that we're really excited about the fact that we don't yet see a limit, and that's fantastic because, again, to your broader point a couple of minutes ago, it's going to take all of these tools kind of performing their best in order to get us where we'd like to be. And so I'm really excited about the fact that we are still just scratching the surface on what this 3D printing technology is capable of. And so we have our different verticals that we're chasing down, and space being probably the most exciting one to talk about. But our single family housing product that we're going to be putting out in Austin here this summer is something that we're really excited about, and really creating another opportunity for people to have a chance to turn an Icon house into a home is something that is really exciting.
I love that. Well, Tim said words matter. And so you saying the sky is no longer the limit is that's a pretty great mic drop for you right there. The sky is no longer the limit. Let's not let the sky be the limit. And truly, if we want to address homelessness, the sky can't be the limit, right? We have to keep pushing. We have to keep trying new things, keep innovating. And that's really what inspires me about Icon, is that you are always forging ahead. You are always willing to try something new. When I heard you were doing a project on the moon, I'm just like, wow. What is your life that you get to do that you get to be part of that, amazing experience. And so just want you to know how excited we are for everything that Icon's doing and how proud we are of y'all. Like it's amazing to see people that are your friends and people that you have gotten to walk alongside accomplish such incredible things and be invited into new opportunities. Because, for us, we are always grateful when our partners and the people that we care about are successful, and when they're able to do things that make a difference in the world. And so being a part of this journey with y'all it's a gift, and we can't wait to see what the future holds. And now I'm glad I know that the sky is no longer the limit. We can do whatever things come our way. Let's just try it all.
Well, I think I'm going to let the love fest continue for a moment, because we were talking about this off camera. I'm originally from Southern California, and you talked about, how in a lot of America's largest cities and in a lot of America's best cities, homelessness is a huge issue. And I can tell you that in LA, it's the same thing. And so when you talk about like the innovation of Icon, we're incredibly proud of that, but we're also incredibly proud of your success as well. What you're doing with Mobile Loaves and at Community First Village really is innovative in a way that I think the world is still yet to fully realize. And I hope that the day comes where, community first village type projects are in every city, in Philadelphia and Chicago, because I think there's a real need for that. And I don't at all want to miss an opportunity to say, we are as proud of you and the innovation that y'all are making over there as you are of us. And so I just had to say it.
Yes, well, thank you for that. And it's happening. We've got cities across the country that are working toward replicating this model. And one of the great joys of my life is when I hear from one of our partners in another city that's working toward building community, their version of community first village. They're creating their own innovation where they are, and hearing their success, hearing when they've acquired the land, hearing when they've moved their first neighbor in. I celebrate that. Honestly, I weep about that, like just tears of joy, because
Right.
I'm so grateful that we have gotten to be part of something that has become a movement, right? This is a movement to change the way that we think about homelessness and the way that we address homelessness, and really putting the community first and recognizing that as an entire community. When I look at what we've done here in Austin, Texas, it's happened because people have come around us, right? The Austin community has come around us. And now even, beyond Austin, people are coming around us to say, what you're doing is innovative and different, and we're seeing that it works. And that, that it turns out that that's contagious, right? People, that hope, we need that hope about homelessness, because some people look at the conditions, in urban camps and under bridges, and it can bring about a feeling of hopelessness. Like, how will we ever address this? And the reality is we will do it human to human, heart to heart, one person at a time. And we love the opportunity to just spread that message and invite more people to come into this mission with us.
Tim, did you have anything you'd like to add there?
Well, and I mean, Amber's just so wonderful. The way you express it is so, I sort of, through osmosis, I'm just sensing and feeling the same thing that I get from the staff here and the missionals and the people that come into the village to want to participate or to replicate or whatever their initial instinct is. They always fall in love with this place. And when Icon, I realized I was actually going to be going into a 3D printed home. I couldn't go as the building as it was actually being built, but I was allowed to watch from afar. And I was so excited, and it's just so high tech and busy little bees over there. And I just stand on the edge, and I think I watched every 500 hours at least of just watching it and dreaming and thinking about it. And then I got to meet Jason and Dmitri, yourself, and the team, Brooke, and everybody. And I mean, from the people who designed it, the interior designers who came in, helped with the furnishings, and everybody is just so excited and young and healthy and intelligent and excited. And I mean, it's just a wonderful group of people who have a sincere desire to not just make money or profit, but to actually solve problems. And this is what we need, an influx of new blood, of smart, innovative people to say, there is no sky's no limit. There is no limit. And let's rethink how you build houses. I mean, this is I think it's been an initiative to rethink on a grand scale how even cars, houses, everything. We've gone too far in the other direction of big, expensive buildings that take forever to build. And, that's why it seems like a brick wall every time you try to say, how can we house all these people? And Icon says, we can house them very easy. All we have to do is get together and get behind this concept. And I am fully so excited for the future of this is major innovation, a major step all over the world. And I know Icon did a development down in Mexico, and on their website. I watched it, and it's just wonderful, man. You know, it's a different culture, different nation, and their smile on their face, their heart was the same I felt when I walked into my new home. They were just so excited, and it's a beautiful, beautiful building. And I'm so proud to know you people, know Icon, and have had the opportunity to meet you guys and all the great things you've done for me. So yeah, it's a collaboration that I'm over the top about. I love you guys.
Tim, I think it's bad form for the interviewer to cry during the interview, so you're gonna have to stop being so nice to me and the team. No, that's truly a wonderful sentiment. Thank y'all both so much just for the kind words, and we can tell you that we absolutely wish nothing but the best for you and the folks over there at the Village. So this has been a wide-ranging, fantastic conversation. I am so honored to have had the opportunity to speak with you, Ms. Fogarty, and you, Mr. Shea. I wanted to let everyone out there know that Community First Village is here for the long haul and just recently celebrated its 5th anniversary. So thank you for all the hard work and the fantastic community that you've brought to Austin, Texas. And we are incredibly excited to see what happens next for y'all. Thank everyone so much for viewing, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the week. Goodbye.